Difficulty. You hear it all the time in gaming. Whether it's a setting or the challenge of the game, it's always there. Some games are notorious for their brutal difficulty, and some games are just lacking in that department. But whatever the difficulty is, it's also an integral part of every game's chemistry. Hi, I'm Sleepless Nights, and I'm here to talk about why this is the case for most games. Why is difficulty so important in gaming? Difficulty is handled very differently in every game you play. There are different learning curves, there are different mechanics, and some games are harder than others. I think this is more on what genre the game you're playing is. You can't have about 10 million enemies coming at you in a rhythm game, or you can't have the entire screen spammed with projectiles in a hack and slash. The way games flow for me relies on how hard the game is. Now this can be different for everyone, I know, but in my opinion that's how it goes. Sure, story progression is important as you go on in games. Franchises like Dark Souls and Elder Scrolls, although hard, are praised for their really deep and intricate lore. But gameplay-wise, difficulty is huge. Imagine some really popular games without that element in them. I'm about 99.9% sure they really will not be the same, but more on that later. For now, I want to discuss what makes a game fun, or to be more exact, what type of difficulty just hits the mark. You probably hear this a lot from people, but stuff like, I love this game for it's a good challenge, or this game is hard but fair. It's tough to hit the mark on difficulty in gaming, a lot of games are too easy, and some are just absolutely brutal, which is a lot of games' issues these days actually. Some games think you're a baby and just let you place down your controller and watch it play itself. But some just completely forget you're human and just whoop your ass right out the window and tear out every shred of humanity you have left and shove it in your mouth only to tear it out again. Seriously though, you might hear from people that some games have an unfair challenge and are wondering why. You might be thinking to yourself, oh, the game's meant to be hard, so why are you complaining that it is? Oh, you innocent child. Let me introduce you to the frigid outskirts from Dark Souls 2. Overall, Dark Souls has been praised for its challenging but fair nature. More on that later. But if you put some of the most unfair mechanics in one area, of course you're gonna get hate. Frigid Outskirts does exactly that. Picture this. The area is one of the hardest bosses in the game, and you're almost guaranteed to die there. Problem is, there's no checkpoints, meaning you have to run through this entire area all over again if you wanna get back to that boss. Why is that a problem, you might be asking? Well, the entire area is utter garbage. It throws you into a vast open snowfield with no direction at all, then decides to throw a freaking blizzard, making it even harder to navigate. What could make this worse, Every time that blizzard comes, the game spawns in a giant reindeer to blindside and ram you into oblivion. No joke. It's not only one reindeer that comes, no. It's multiple. Every time that blizzard comes, there's gonna be a reindeer spawning right after you kill one. It's stupid. And the area is just so dumb, man. Why does it even exist? That's what I mean by unfair difficulty. A game or part of a game that decides to just flip you off and throw whatever it can to make your life miserable. These parts of games don't put fun mechanics and smart decision making into play. It's when the game doesn't give you any tactic or strategy to get past a specific part. It just makes you run in head first into your death, not allowing you to make any plan whatsoever. For me, I can say a game's difficulty is fair if it doesn't just throw random crap at you, expecting it to be fun. I like it when games have space for strategy. It has different ways where you can tackle certain situations. Take Ultimate Custom Night for example. No, I'm not a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan, but I do praise this game because it does a lot correctly. It's one of those games where every decision matters. One wrong move can end it in failure. It never really felt unfair though. People have beaten this game on the hardest settings, and with the correct strategy, you can make it to the end. Never really feel cheated when you lose on this one though. Sure, the game has RNG involved in it, a lot of games do. But in this one, you can easily find a way to get past certain situations. Which brings us to our next topic. A game's difficulty is good, in my opinion, when you can't blame the game for a loss. I don't want to feel cheated or anything, but basically, that's what I'm saying. I want to feel that it was my fault and my fault only. But the way a game seems more enjoyable is since you can't say it has bad gameplay or mechanics. Enter the Gungeon is a really good example of this. It's known to be a really difficult roguelike bullet hell where one fatal mistake could mean the end of your run. Despite this, the game doesn't cheat you in any way. Everything that happens is your fault. The game gives you everything you need to survive. Projectiles don't move at Mach 10 and give you enough time to dodge. Rolling is also an option which gives you invincibility frames when there's no room to move around. There are plenty of tables you can use for extra cover from bullets, and you can get extra HP and armor from shops as you move on. So you really can't complain much if you lose, since the game hands everything to you already. You can't blame on it like not having more options to do things early game, since all of these are already there once you get started. It's all there in the tutorial, it teaches you everything. Another really good example, though kinda cliche, is Dark Souls. The Dark Souls of games, who could forget it? I guess you could say Dark Souls is a game where understanding of mechanics is important. You can't just run in blindly and expect to win. It's probably one of the hardest games to master in this generation of gaming, just for that reason. People say it's stupidly difficult, but really there's not much to it. The controls are simple and straightforward, there's not really a very large difficulty spike. Enemies give you enough time to react and they're always skilled for the same level you are when you enter their area. If you die in Dark Souls, it's your fault. Maybe you missed time to dodge, or you had a bad heal. Maybe you ran out of stamina and got destroyed. Whatever it is, it wasn't the game's fault. It's probably just you not playing smart, thus leading to your death. An example of bad mechanics, however, are games like I Am Bread and Surgeon Simulator. Now. Calm down in the comments or whatever, I'm not hating on these games. I'm just using them as an example as games that you can blame for failing. These games are focused on making your life miserable. They're rage games. They're not supposed to be fair, which is why the controls are absolutely infuriating. Like, how do you even control this stupid piece of crap bread? Is this guy's hand disabled? But anyway, enough with that, since you're probably getting tired of me talking about difficulty and whatnot, so I guess it's time to do the opposite. What would these games be, these titles well known for their toughness and mechanics, be without those key factors? I see a lot of people ask for easy modes on some really difficult games nowadays. I get it. Some people don't have the time or skill to beat some of these games. Maybe they just want to play for the story. Maybe they just want to pretend like they beat a really difficult game and brag to their friends about it, like, hey man, check it out, I beat Dark Souls. Legit. Yeah. Whatever the case is, there's one big problem with this. The game will not be the same without its challenge. It's the experience that you're missing. Whatever the game is, the fact that it's so hard is probably what makes it unique. Now, if you strip that away from the game, you'll be taking something major out of it. You'll probably be left with an empty shell of a game. It would be way too boring to even play through if the entire game is basically auto. One of my friends, now, I'm not gonna say who for privacy reasons and stuff like that, but yeah, I guess you know who you are. One of my friends actually complains that Dark Souls and Half-Life need a map. Now, what I keep telling him is that it takes the fun out of games like these, especially in first playthroughs. If the game literally shoves in your face the direction you need to go, there will be no thrill. I get that some games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls have maps, but those are open world games. It's different. They're games where it's really easy to get lost. There's little to no boundary in those games, and finding an area you haven't been to will be near impossible. But with games that are pretty much linear and have a set path like the ones I mentioned earlier, I don't really think a map is needed. In fact, going in head first into something or somewhere mysterious, where danger is the only thing you know is on the other side, is one of the best parts of these games. That feeling of going into something blind and not knowing what awaits you is amazing. It's something I praise these games for, and I think adding maps and waypoints takes away this experience. Now, there's much more to an easy mode than simply adding a map. It's nerfing everything in a game. Take Halo for example. Easy mode is a freaking joke. Enemies deal no damage and you can cruise through the game with your eyes closed. It's stupid. What's the point of even playing a game when you know exactly what the outcome will be? Why would you invest hours into a game knowing that you don't need to put any effort into it in the long run? Take a look at older games like the original Super Mario. There were no saves, no easy mode, you only get the set number of lives, and if you die, it's back to square one. No one complained about that, and in fact, people loved the game. It's what started the whole generation of gaming, and you can't really complain that it's difficult. If you fail, it keeps you hungry for more. You get pumped, you get determined to beat the game. Because you know that something greater is waiting on the other side. The feeling you get when you do something harder than you ever thought you'll do is absolutely amazing. You'll feel like you can do anything. You're ready to take the next challenge head on, since you know if you fail, you will keep going. But without the difficulty though, the feeling will be gone. You will not feel the need going to keep going since you know the end will just be the same as the beginning. There will be no sense of accomplishment, no thrill, no fun. And that for me is the importance of difficulty in video games. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button below. And if you do want more of videos like these, make sure to subscribe. It genuinely helps me make stuff like this. It pumps me up. It gives me motivation to do more videos like these. Please do keep in mind though that everything I said here is just my opinion. If I offended anyone watching this, I'm really sorry. I promise you I don't mean it personally. Again, thanks for watching and have a nice day.